Sometimes I'm inspired that we actually do have some fighters out there in the low T GOP. And I'll tell you what, I did enjoy this one from our next guest, Anthony Sabatini. He went on last night. Would you like to know what offense looks like? Quote, it's time for us in the Florida legislature to call an emergency legislative session and amend our laws regarding federal agencies. Sever all ties with the GOP immediately. Any FBI agent conducting law enforcement functions outside the purview of our state should be arrested upon sight. Yes, thank you, Lord. Joining me now, Republican state rep in Florida, Anthony Sabatini. He's also running for Congress. Please, God, I hope he wins. Okay, explain to me, explain to the country what this looks like, because I love the sounds of it.
Well, Jesse, this is the 10th Amendment, reviving it and bringing it back to light. Red states need to learn how to use the power. We're doing a little bit of that in Florida, but it's really time to put our foot on the gas. The bill proposal I outlined in that tweet last night is very similar to something I filed a few months back concerning the Capitol Police. The Capitol Police are now expanding, coming into the state. So a few months ago, I wrote a bill saying, sever all ties with them. What that means legally is county, city, sheriffs, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, any agency whatsoever should not be allowed to recognize them, work with them, have any kind of interlocal agreements. You see, the FBI and the DOJ often work with state and local law enforcement when they execute this partisan activity. And so we can shut it down at the state level, and it's not that hard to do. We're a huge red state, and so if we push back against it, they're going to understand that, and it's going to be effective. But further than that, we also need to pass a law saying that if they want to execute a warrant, if they want to actually conduct law enforcement operations, they should ask for permission through the executive branch, our governor, or through the legislature. And if they don't, they should be treated as trespassers. Yes, it's going to provoke friction and tension with the federal government, but that's what we need. The left does this all the time. When the medical marijuana conversation was starting in this country, the blue states basically said, forget federal law, we're just going to ignore it and do our own thing. The Republican states need to learn from that and do it when it comes to this far more heinous activity that they're engaged in now. I mean, they are a lawless partisan agency that bears no resemblance to what the FBI was decades ago, and they need to be stopped.
At a federal level, you're running for Congress, obviously hope you win. What can Congress actually do? What will they do? And you're going to have to forgive me if I'm not impressed by hearings. I continue to hear this. We're going to have hearings. We're going to hold hearings. Christopher Wray just sat in front of the Senate and gave him a double middle finger and told him he had to leave for his vacation and then went and raided Donald Trump's home. These people don't care about hearings or bad-looking sound bites.
I think what you need to do is, in terms of the sequence of events, the opposite. First, you start with defunding the DOJ and the FBI. You cut them, you gut them, you fire all of these long-term swamp creature employees that have been there for a long time. Then you hold the hearings afterwards, and you basically say, okay, if you're doing any good work whatsoever, let's say they're doing drug interdiction, human trafficking, et cetera, which I think could all be handled through local state prosecutors to begin with. But the hearings should come afterwards, not first. You don't say, well, gee golly, we want to know what you were up to when you came and raided the former president's house. First, you defund him. We know that they are engaged in corrupt partisan activity, and then the hearings can follow afterwards. But the first and foremost thing is using the power of the purse, shutting them down, and firing these career swamp creatures. And if we do believe there should be a federal law enforcement agency like the FBI, stack it with red state prosecutors from places like Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, or wherever, Texas, but not the people in Washington, D.C. who have turned it into the swamp pit that it is today.